Yo, what's going on? Prince Avo, what's good? May or may not notice I got myself a mic. What does that mean? That means I'm 5 times better than you. That means I'm 10 times more intelligent, and my male follicle is about 30 times longer in length, which makes me a more credible source of information.
What did you just say?
So, what does that mean also? That means that it's time for me to become a terrible influence on the youth. Stop listening to your parents, bro. It's not worth it.
Fuck your parents. I'm joking.
I'm joking. What I really mean is stop listening to your mom. And of course, there's exceptions. But as a man, I feel like ultimately, mothers, they promote complacency through teaching boys how to avoid risk, right? Imagine, every single kid, like every single little boy, what they want to do is roll around in the dirt and get dirty and to potentially get sick. Boys in general are like risk takers. That's just naturally what we kind of do. And what does your mom do? Your mom goes, no, these are all the negative things that can happen with whatever you're doing. So stop doing it. And I understand that, right? A mother's ultimate goal is to have you safe and to have you protected within reach so that if anything happens to you, you're okay and you don't hurt yourself. And we get it, right? But at the end of the day, healthy risk is a gateway to growth. Let's be honest. There's sometimes, man, you take that risk and you really benefit from that. So I think it's not a good practice that a lot of moms, they kind of maneuver their children out of the way of risk instead of teaching them how to navigate through it. But I'm not gonna lie, I feel like that's a dad's job anyway. Because here's the thing, risk is correlated with ambition. Ambition is historically male, and I'm gonna explain why. For most of history, men conquered and held leadership positions. That's like what we did, right? Look at politics in fucking, I don't know, medieval times. You had kings, you had princes, you had knights. All of those things are like male dominated. Men are expected to have status, money, connections, the ability to get out of any situation, competence. These are all things that are kind of associated with those top level positions within society. Leadership, a lot of the times, means managing risk, navigating risk, right? Let's say you were Army general and there's a troop force and there's another one and you got to determine which one you want to fight. I don't know, I'm not a fucking general. But basically you have to make a good decision. Your skill as a leader oftentimes is how well you can make that decision so that you receive the positive outcome. With risk, there's always a chance that you lose, but there's also a chance that you win. The goal is not to avoid risk entirely. The goal is to learn how to navigate it so that you always get that positive outcome. And that's what women want. Women want men who know how to do that. That's competence, right? That's confidence, competence. That shows that woman that you know what you're doing. So why is it that all these women, bro, because this is what they do. They take a man, right? Let's say they got this wonderful man. They take this man who's a risk taker and he's on his money and he stays on his mission. He's He's focusing on himself and he's on all these amazing things. And they take him and they want time and they want attention. I understand you want all those things. But at the end of the day, you're transforming him into something. You're transforming him into a different version of the man that you fell in love with in the beginning, which is going to eventually lead to you falling out of love with him. I never understood that, to be honest, but it happens. Women get away with less success. A lot of the times, they just have to kind of wait at the finish line for an accomplished man, for an achieved man, right? Modern day, you just have a woman, she's really beautiful, she's young, and you got a millionaire from fucking, I don't know, from fucking Portugal, and he fucking flies her out, and then that's her life story. She made it. So a lot of men are a means to an end. And sort of related to that is the fact that women have options. Most women have options. Most men do not have options. And if they do, the amount of options is drastically lower compared to the amount of options women have. Check your ladies' friends' DMs. I don't know. I always hear stuff like that too. Oh, he reached out to me. This random guy. He was flirting with me, but I don't like him, you know. And then they continue talking to him because of like the validation. Like, okay, women have a lot more options. Men have to build themselves to have almost as many options as women have. That's just the reality, right? Because women, even though they have a lot of options, what they want is the top 1% of those options. Men, I guess you could say the same, but ultimately they just want to have options in general. That's what I feel like. Men are attracted to risk takers, right? That's kind of associated with all these leadership positions within society. that's associated with potential success in the future, someone who knows how to navigate risk. Like you look at all these stock guys, bro, and that's all they really do is take risks on money, and they lose money, and they make money, whatever. That's basically navigating risk. I might have said this already, but risk equals potential, pretty much. The potential I'm talking about is the potential for a positive outcome and a negative outcome. So let's use a boxing analogy. Let's say you get in the ring, right? You get in the ring with me. Oh shit. You get in the ring with me. There's a chance you win, there's a chance you lose. Now, the more you've trained, it increases the likelihood that you win in that endeavor, right? And that you win in that encounter. And so what you want to do is, in preparation for that, you want to train a lot because you don't want to lose, right? The same way with taking risks. The reality is life forces you to take certain risks, right? And the decisions that these risks force upon you reveal themselves to be forks in your life path, which ultimately determine your potential. Whoa, I understand. Big words, right? Basically, the decisions that you choose to make lead to your success in life, right? If, let's say there's a business opportunity, you're taking a risk, you have to drop your own job in order to get there. That decision, whether you drop your own job to get this potentially higher earning position, is gonna affect your life, right? Obviously. So this job could also be a shittier job. For that same reason, that's up to your own judgment to figure out if that option is better for you or not, right? So the more you train at getting good with making those decisions, I feel like the more successful you'll be as a man. Same way with boxing, right? Reality is, there might be a certain point in your life where you're forced to defend yourself, right? Sometimes there's certain decisions you gotta make. And the more you're used to making those decisions, the less stress you experience during that. You understand what I'm saying? Let's talk a little more personal. Before I got into boxing, when I was like really young, my mom always thought about having me do something like that. She never did because she didn't want to see me hurt. Which is kind of funny, because that's kind of like the whole point of boxing. The reward is far greater than what you have to endure in the beginning process, right? That's kind of like what I mean. That's like a risk, right? Putting your little kid into a little boxing shit, he might get hurt. That's part of the risks. But also, he might be a fucking savage. He might be a fucking badass. You get what I'm saying, bro? And she ultimately chose to not allow me to be a badass at a young age, you know? And I understand why, because she didn't want to see me hurt. But that's like an example. I feel like of a lot of the times, mothers, they do stuff like that and they inhibit your growth as a man. And maybe if I had a strong father figure or some shit like that to tell me, no, he should do this, he's a man, it's important that he learns this, then maybe, you know, it would have been different. But I chose to do boxing on my own time recently. It's about to be almost a year, I think, now. You know, that was something I had to decide. I had to take that risk on my own. Did I get hurt? Hell fucking yeah. Is it worth it? Even fucking more so. Inspire me to try violin, right? Which is something I'm very good at now. And it's allowed me some monetary success, right? Like I'm on scholarship for that shit right now. Amazing, right? I know you're jealous. I know. I get upset because a lot of times now, I feel like it's a lot of men my age that don't take these risks. I mean, they might take a risk, you know, like just how there's a risk if I fucking inject this heroin in my arm, you know, I might die or I might have a really good time. Like those are stupid risks. That's not what I'm talking about. I feel like every single person has a lot of potential. I'm doing this shit because I feel like I have potential, right? I believe in that myself. And I just wish a lot of kids, like a lot of other kids my age would also like feel the same way, you know what I'm saying? Even though I'm very young, I feel like my time's running out. People might hear that and disagree, but at the end of the day, I think it's that mentality, that time is running out mentality, that's gonna allow me to succeed in the future. I'm not gonna lie, right? I see too much complacency. I see not enough ambition. And that's ultimately the reason why I'm here. To be honest, that's what I want to inspire out of every single one of you watching, hopefully it's young men like me. I'm not seeing a lot of masculinity today. There's not enough positive role models, right? Like I just mentioned, the story with me boxing and my mom when I was young, how she didn't want me to do it. I'm pretty sure if there would have been like a healthier role model in my life at that time, he could have convinced my mom to just force me into it anyways. Even if I as a little kid, didn't want to do it. I mean, what the fuck? I'm like, how old was I? I don't even know. It's not very likely that a lot of young kids want to just do some shit like that in the ring and get fucking beat up by, you know what I'm saying? A lot of the times that's what you need is that masculine push to just go and fucking do it. Go hurt yourself, get dropped, pick yourself back up. Ultimately, it makes you a better man. It's those trials and tribulations that add to a man's character and increase his value, especially how he chooses to come out of that situation. Ultimately, I'm not here to tell you to ignore your mom, right? She cares about you, she has your best interest, right? So don't ignore her. I'm just saying, if she gives you advice, I feel like you need to kind of second guess it, especially if it's some sort of advice around risk aversion. You need to have enough self-awareness to decide if the risk is too great for a little reward, or if the reward is too great for a little risk. You get what I'm saying? And that's up to you as a man. That's what you need practice on. That's ultimately my message, right? There's times mothers can be right, but you know what I'm saying, bro? Anyways, that's on me. Peace. Prince Abu out.